British social realism is the unofficial film genre of the nation. This is because, as a nation, we aren't particularly optimistic, so we do not really do Hollywood endings, where everything is happy and the guy gets the girl and defeats the villain, whereas we tend to do films with people in dire situations with no hope of life getting better. Or there is either a shining light throughout the film, but it gets taken away from them right at the very end. Few people have created such powerful realism in film as the controversial British filmmaker Alan Clarke. He was known for his gritty and provocative work, which was, at times, almost unbearable to watch. Despite the subject matter, the films were visually brilliant due to the cinematography. The films caused a sensation when they were released over 30 years ago, and still remain shocking to this day. Alan Clarke was working as a miner in Canada when he enrolled in a film and TV course in Toronto. On his return to England, he worked mainly in television until his film Scum was banned by the BBC. This was due to the level of extreme violence which wasn't thought to be suitable for television audiences. He then decided to remake the film for a cinematic audience. Scum is just one example of Clarke's brutally moving films. Others include Elephant and Made in Britain. These three films all have the same overlaying theme of tough communities who have become marginalised from society. The films all heavily feature violence. Clarke portrays it almost as a way of life for his characters. In Scum and Made in Britain, the protagonists, Carlin and Trevor, played by Ray Winston and Tim Roth, are shown as sympathetic characters with redeeming features, despite the fact that Roth's character is a racist skinhead. But when we look at the characters in Elephant, we can barely see their faces, let alone know what their names are, so we can't sympathise with them. Clarke made the characters in Elephant this way, so it was impossible to sympathise with their actions, which we definitely shouldn't sympathise with them, because the whole film is a series of 18 murders happening consecutively. Clarke utilises the handheld camera technique to great effect. He uses it to create a sense of uneasiness in his films. It is almost as if he is trying to harness the power of a documentary to help emphasise the impact of the brutality of the violence in his films. Clarke uses cinematography in a way that is typical of British realist films, by using handheld cameras. Under Clarke's direction, this has the effect of involving the audience more immediately in the action. In Elephant, for instance, the camera follows the characters' every move, with very little cutting away. Since there is virtually no dialogue in the film, the viewer is forced to become involved in the scenes in front of them. There is no getting away from the succession of the murders. They are cold, stark, and unrelenting. In each of the murders, the killer is seen walking coolly away from the camera. This suggests that they are getting away with what they have just done. Clarke then has the camera lingering on the dead body for longer than is comfortable. Scum, Made in Britain, and Elephant all tell stories of working class people making an effort to survive in their environments through the use of violence. Clarke makes no effort to provide answers or to redeem his characters. Instead, he just shows what life was like in these situations. His objective was to use narrative to tell the plight of the working classes under Thatcher's Britain in the 1980s.